Alrighty, the next quest in the Tuliyollal role quests for ranged magical DPS is the Seeds of Popularity. This is level 94. I believe it is the third quest specifically for this role. Given to us by Tepeke, the Seeds of Popularity. We are in Yedlamad in Thavner. Here we go. Mercy, I hope you've been well. Since last we spoke, the Justicar has been busy felling fiends all across Thavner, leaving a trail of witnesses behind in his wake. More than a few have reported seeing stones falling from the sky, which all but confirms our theory that the treasure is causing the phenomenon. The stories share one more peculiar commonality. It seems that the pests he hunts have all been of the seedkin variety. Why he avoids beasts of flesh and blood is yet a mystery. It bears mentioning that each of these eyewitness accounts came from people who were rescued by the Justicar, who invariably appears just as these creatures attack. In fact, the Justicar has been there to save the day in emphasis is to save the day in every single instance of seedkin-related mischief. Awfully suspicious, if you ask me, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Some among the Radiant host have suggested that the Justicar is planning these assaults somehow, so he alone can reap the glory from thwarting them. I agree, and think this should be our next avenue of investigation. Many of these incidents occurred near the Giant Skull grounds, so we should start our search there. If we can find one of these monstrous plants before it finds hapless prey, we may be able to shed light upon the Justicar's methods. Time is of the essence, so let's leave at once. Still not really happy with the voice I've chosen for her, but I have no idea what I would do instead. It is definitely one of the more unique voices I have done. I'm not entirely sure what, like why, why I chose what I did. You know, ours is not the reason why. Ours is only to dragonfly. So we fly mostly north, a little bit of a west tinge to it. You could probably you could have called it north-northwest from Yedlamad. Almost the opposite end of the map. Pretty damn close. Here's Tepeke, surrounded by some dalmals. Not really surrounded, I guess, at all. Any moving bushes? Slithering vines? Not here, in any case. Mercy, I'll search the western path. Why don't you search east? Okay. If you see something, don't strike to kill. Weaken it, then capture it with this rope. We'll learn much more from a live specimen. Okay. I suppose that means I probably shouldn't use my paintings. But have them up just in case. We have a dark purple circle with a little Marlboro seedling guy inside. That should be fine. Oh, I thought that would drop a little... Okay, I guess I can't use it from that menu. Hold on. Enemy is not weakened? Oh, I actually do kill it. That's dumb. It starts to drool, stops attacking me. We've captured a cultivated Marlboro seedling. So we fly back to the west, to Tepeke. I see plenty of fauna roaming about, but the flora all seem to be of the rooted to the ground variety. Perhaps my hunch was incorrect. Hand over the captured Marble seedling. You found one! In fact, this is exactly as an eyewitness described. She hands me something. Why don't you keep it for the time being? Bring it to the Great Work, and I'll ask my acquaintance there to examine it with all haste. That is just to the south, a little bit west as well. Could teleport there, but it's a lovely day for... Well, it's actually kind of cloudy, but... You can enjoy kind of the... I want to say like savanna kind of feeling this portion of the zone has to it. A savanna with hills. And not... Well, I guess savannas don't really have a lot of trees, I guess, yeah. Dive, dive, dive. Inside, Nidhana played a role in the main story. This is kind of like a workshop, smelting, other kind of metal works, and maybe some alchemy and other works. And like this is a grinding stone, it looks like. Anyway, here's a kindly alchemist, an Ara fellow, an Ara lady. Mistress Tepeke told me what to expect. Well then, let's see the thing. Hand over. Oh, I didn't expect it to be so diminutive. If Mistress Tepeke's intuition is correct, then I expect some interesting discoveries are in store. Cutscene. Tepeke and I are having a convo. Researcher lady comes back. You've brought me quite the fascinating specimen. Indeed, I can say for certain that this creature's growth isn't natural in the slightest. Biologically, it's still but a sapling, as you can tell by its size, yet it is the result of a specific alchemical mixture which is used to spur the growth of seeds and mycelium to an unnatural degree. The agents have a side effect of making the creatures more aggressive, which explains why such a small specimen would so boldly attack beings larger than itself. Tepeke's takes a half step back, taken aback by the news. Yet the solution requires ingredients most rare, and the cost of procuring enough to synthesize it would be beyond the means of most. So whoever is behind this, they are likely well healed, says Tepeke. The researcher lady nods. As for the creatures themselves, if they were all grown artificially, perhaps that explains why most of the incense involved small seedkin. Rather than wait for them to mature naturally, the Justicar must have accelerated their growth so that he could deploy huge numbers over a short span of time. In fact, his plan likely requires they be small, weak foes in order to guarantee his victory. After all, the great Justicar can hardly be expected to bear the blemish of defeat. With these new details brought to light, it's almost certain he's staging these attacks on the common folk. Now we have a new perspective to guide our search. I give her a nod. Perhaps we should return to Yedlamad. I hear the Justicar is the talk of the village, and they doubtless have stories to share, says the alchemist lady. A splendid idea. Thank you. Your findings have brought us a step closer to unmasking that villain. Researcher gives a wave, as does Tepeke. Let's hurry to Yedlamad. The more accounts we have of the Justicar, the better our chances of predicting his next move. She goes running. I go teleporting. 100 Gillo. I hear one or two. I dropped the act of being an auctioneer immediately. I cannot speak that fast. At least not in a way that is understandable. We have an alert Radiant to talk to number 1 here. Rest assured, the Radiant hosts are well aware of the Justicar. Every day we receive more reports of him combating beasts in the surrounding wilderness. These encounters are never on well-traveled roads, it seems. They occur in remote regions that we scarcely patrol, along routes that are only used by a small number of merchants and porters. We've concluded that the Justicar either has uncommon knowledge of the behavioral patterns of these creatures, or that he keeps close company with a merchant who travels those obscure paths. We fly north with a bit of east to it. A watchful man. Don't tell me you've come chasing that half-baked savior. Savior in quotes. The younglings might be taken in by his honeyed words, but anyone with experience can see that he's nothing but a charlatan, and I have a story to prove it. A merchant I know took a tumble as he was transporting his goods. Not long after comes the Justicar, looking chivalrous as you please. In his shining armor. But did he offer a helping hand? No, he ran off with nary a glance backwards. He may go on about slaying beasts, but a real hero would never ignore someone in need, even if they were just suffering from scraped knees and a bruised ego. Southeast to the last person to talk to, an enthused youth. Oh, you're hungry to learn more of the Justicar? He's amazing. I was lucky enough to catch a glimpse of him on the road leading here, facing down a fearsome creature. I don't know how he did it, but he called down rocks from the sky to knock that thing flat. The Radiant host were away on patrol, so if he hadn't come to our rescue, that brute would have marched right into our homes. He shouted that he was the savior of Radzat-Han and even waved at me. Oh, he looked so impressive with the sun shining behind him. And to turn in the quest, we speak... Oh, where'd she go? We speak with Tepeke in, actually, our normal spot. She is talking to a blue-coated blonde man with a fez on his head. Blue-jacketed. Mercy, do you have a moment? I'm having a little trouble here. He looks kind of frozen or scared or something. I sought this merchant out because I was told he dealt with the alchemists in the great work. I thought he might know something about the Justicar, but when I asked, he's been like this ever since.
Apologies, I was just surprised that you would ask me about that madman. What connection could he possibly have with me?
The fiends he fights are grown with rare alchemical materials, and we think he may be staging these encounters. Since you deal in such wares, I wondered if you might know how he came into their possession.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never spoken to that man.
Tepeke looks to me and shrugs. I very much doubt that. Perhaps he'll be more receptive to questioning from you, Mercy? I give her a nod. I turn to him. My options are, he seems to have intimate knowledge of trade routes and alchemy. Who taught him, I wonder? Or, spit it out. You're working with him. He seems to have intimate knowledge of trade routes and alchemy. Who taught him, I wonder?
Come now, any merchant with a nose for profit has good relations with the alchemists. By your way of thinking, any one of us could be in league with Virazon. Victor I-R-A Zebra A-H Nancy. Virazon.
Virazon, you said. Who's that, may I ask?
He looks like, huh? What? Did I? No, that's my name.
Staring contest between the three of us. Shakes his head.
I'd be a fool to continue this charade any longer. My son, Virazon, is the one you know as the Justicar. To be suddenly confronted with his litany of misdeeds, I quite lost my composure.
Shock from both of us. You're his father? Then, do you know how he came into possession of such rare materials and knowledge?
Aye, he stole them from me. My most valuable materials and my precious maps. Yet I was the one who chose to hide that fact, and I bear the blame for the consequences.
What can you tell us about him as a person?
He nods. Virazon was obsessed with tales of legendary heroes, even from a young age. I paid a great deal of money to have him tutored in the art of the bow. He became quite skilled at it, in fact, but not quite as skilled as his arrogance led him to believe. Due to this, and perhaps a lack of ambition, he never aspired to true greatness. Instead, he came to rely upon fanciful equipment and exotic potions, rather than honing what skill he had. It pained me to see him fall into dissoluteness.
I don't think I've ever said that word aloud. Dissoluteness.
But he would brook no counsel. So, several years ago, I gave him enough coin to support his lavish lifestyle and told him never to speak with me again. He didn't, until but recently when he darkened my doorstep once more.
And that was when he stole your goods?
He nods. Aye, although I would have willingly given them if he had but asked. He was rambling almost incoherently, saying that his heroic deeds as the Justicar had caught the eye of someone named Apyahi, leader of the Passage of the Unbound, whoever they are. He claimed that under the guidance of his newfound allies he had obtained a great power, power enough to eclipse all heroes who have come before and shall come after, as he put it. It seems he gives that what money he still has to these people. To think that, for all his fanciful words, he has only deigned to grasp at hollow glory, all at the expense of rods at Han, there is no greater shame as a father.
Given what we know of this shadowy group, they most likely aim to sow discontent through Virasan's deeds. He may be so blinded by his own desire for adoration that he can't see whose hands are pulling the strings.
You're saying that he's being used? If that's true, then I can no longer remain silent, despite what shame it may bring. I see now that sharing my story might be the only way to save my son.
Indeed, I suggest you tell the Radiant Host at once. Of course, we'll be pouring our every effort into stopping him.
Thank you for giving me direction. I didn't imagine our meeting would end this way.
He goes walking off. Truth be told, I'm not entirely unsympathetic towards Virazan. I basked in my father's reflected glory, while having none of my own to speak of. The glory Virazan seeks is similarly false. I, too, shall visit the Radiant Host and have them spread word of the Justicar's true nature. If the people are wise to his trickery, they will be far more likely to aid us. He'll soon learn that a legend built on lies is no match for true heroism. 1,048,320 experience points, 1,000 gil, and the third magical ranged DPS Tuliyollal role quest is done. The Seeds of Popularity. Cool. Next quest 96. I got that, so we're golden. And until then, Tepeke has an inability to look at the camera. Must be if I'm behind her? No, that doesn't help. How about way back here? No. Anyway, Tepeke and I thank you for watching. We do so hope you've enjoyed. She only has eyes for me for some reason. I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now. I only have eyes